I never aim to just close the deal. Numerous times I tell my people, no, this is not the area you should go in. This is not the house you should go in. And some people ask me, like, why do you do this? I mean, you're kind of steering away from people. I said, I know, but it never happens. If I am asking someone to get away from something, I get paid big time as a reward, because that was a good thing for me to do.
Absolutely.
So that's what I believe in. I just believe in the quality.
And this is the conversation I've had with so many of our agents in the Wolfpack is we're not just looking to close deals. We're not just looking to sell people as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And that is a huge part of kind of what we're about is being valuable, is being of service, right? And then coming from that mindset. I think that's probably where you're getting a lot of your business, is because you're getting referrals based on people having such great experiences with you because you're caring about their best interests. And I think when you're aligned in the way that you said you are, like, being a man of faith and things like that, I think that even helps too, to just try to orientate you right and try to do the best for others. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm super excited for this episode here today with Shabahat Shakeel. And I am super excited to get into our conversation today because he's been with eXp now for going just over 6 months. And I'm super excited to talk to him because he's got a very unique story, and just excited to kind of dive into our conversation today, wherever it takes us. So starting off, I think a great point to start is for people at home. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Shabahat. Like, so what's your story? Kind of what's gotten you into real estate? How did it all start?
Well, first of all, thank you, Brandon, for having this opportunity to speak with you. It is always nice when we are talking off camera, but it's a good time for us to be here. Thank you for the warm introduction as well. What got me into real estate? Honestly, this was not planned. By education, I have nothing to do with real estate. I have done my engineering in electronics and communication engineering. Then I've done my master's in computer networking. I moved to St. John because I found my first job here, and I worked with the company for 7 years. I was at a senior operations position, management position, and then everything was good. Life was good, paycheck was good, everything. But there was something that was missing, and then I always used to think about getting into something else. And when I purchased my house, I was always part of these house deals with all my friends and family and everything. And I'm the type of personality who wants a deep understanding of anything I'm doing. I'm not saying I do everything, but whatever I will do, I need to have the good understanding. I mean, just the upper layer does not satisfy me. So even when I purchased my house, I needed to have a good understanding of how does it work, how is the mortgage working, why sometimes banks are pulling your property taxes as well, what's the reason behind it, how the interest rates work, why is it 3 years locked, 5 years locked, what's variable. I mean, all those things, right? So I was so much into it that I liked it. And then people were asking questions from me, and I was able to answer those questions. And then slowly it kept happening. And then there was a point when I thought that, I want to quit my job. I had a conversation with my wife, and she said, we are in a situation where we can take that risk. Of course, we had the mortgage to pay back then. I had a son. I have daughter as well now, so 2 kids. But back then, there was just my son.
Okay.
And it was not easy for me to quit my job. I mean, literally, my hands were shaking when I was doing it.
Yeah.
But I don't regret it now, a single bit of it. And actually, I didn't get into real estate right away. So what I did is, when I quit my job, I started working for Fundy Honda.
Okay.
So I sold cars as well for 6 to 7 months because, again, that is something that I love. I love selling cars and all. And surprisingly, I was doing very good there. I was selling like 25, 30 cars a month.
I can see that, yeah, because you're very
So,
intuitive, and then you're
so
probably able to explain everything very well,
so
right?
same thing helped me there because, again, I was so much deep into it. I was able to explain everything, how the finance is working and all that. So it was good. And then slowly it happened, and then me and my cousin, who is my business partner as well, we got into the food business. So we ended up opening a restaurant. We still have it.
Okay.
But yeah, then there was a time where I told him, I said, you know what, you look at everything else, I want to get into the real estate. And then finally, about 4 years back, I would say, I got formally into the real estate. So I started my journey with eXp Realty. A group of very nice people. I still love talking to them. And then again, I chose to join eXp. A lot of lovely people here as well. So I'm a people person. I love talking to everyone. And anytime I work with any of my client on real estate side of things, it just gives me joy. I'm not I don't take pride in saying that I don't do a lot of marketing, but unfortunately, because of all the involvements I had in different things, I did not do a lot of marketing for my business as I should have. But I'm so grateful to all my clients and to Almighty that the word of mouth kept giving me business, and I think that is speaks for the sort of trust that I have from my clients.
Absolutely.
That it just keeps happening. So I believe in God as well, and it. I don't know how business comes. Honestly, I have no way to tell you that what's happening, but somehow it just keeps happening.
Yeah.
And all I try to do always is I never aim to just close the deal. Numerous times I tell my people, no, this is not the area you should go in. This is not the house you should go in. And some people ask me, like, why do you do this? I mean, you're kind of steering away from people. I said, I know, but it never happens. If I am asking someone to get away from something, I get paid big time as a reward because that was a good thing for me to do.
Absolutely.
So that's what I believe in. I just believe in the quality, and yeah. So
looking out for people's best interests,
Yeah,
right? Sometimes
exactly.
where they may not see something that you see from your experience of knowing
Yeah.
things about certain communities. You may go, this probably isn't a great community for
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
right? And kind of having that insight. And this is the conversation I've had with so many of our agents in the Wolfpack is, we're not just looking to close deals. We're not just looking to sell people as fast
Yeah.
as possible.
Yeah.
And that is a huge part of kind of what we're about is being valuable, is being of service, right? And then coming from that mindset. I think that's probably where you're getting a lot of your business is because
100%,
you're getting referrals based on people having such great experiences with you because you're caring about their best interests.
Yeah,
And I think when you're aligned in the way that you said you are, like, being a man of faith and things like that, I think that even helps too to just try to orientate you right and try to do the best for others too, right?
100%. A lot of time I just talk to people not with an intention that this person is going to bring business to me, but sometimes it just turns out to the business. So I think, I tell everyone, a lot of people ask me about this business and all, and I just say that keep doing good for your clients, and profit is going to be a byproduct of what you do.
That's exactly right.
That's what's going to happen, right? At least this is what has worked out for me. I never shy away from saying no to things because if I feel that it is not good for my clients, I will never push them to do the deal. I have shown people 30, 40 houses just for this reason because they were not satisfied. And yes, it was not easy. You keep doing and doing and doing. I've written at least 20 offers or so for someone, and things were not working out because we were in the specific budget, in a specific market. And then finally, they were able to get something which they are very happy with now in their budget, right in the location where they want it to be. It was just a patience game, and you just don't need to rush it, right? Because it's a big investment, right? People are spending
Huge.
$300,000, $500,000, even in excess of that.
Yep.
You don't want to be pushing it, right?
No.
So that's what I feel.
You have to make sure that it's the right house, that it's the right deal for them, that they're comfortable with it, that it's something that's going to be in their best interest, and that there's
100%.
that you're setting them up in a position so that when they call you in 3 to 5 years, that you're going to be able to help them, and that that they're going to call you because you guided them so well during that initial process too, right? And I think that's where That's where a lot of people almost go wrong getting into the business is they're so commission breathed is what they'll call it, right? Is they just want to close anybody.
Yeah.
They have that mindset of I just need to close a deal.
Yeah.
And that's when business is the hardest. That's when it's the hardest because you're only thinking about you.
Right.
And once you can get to a spot where all you actually care about is the other people, is
Right.
your clients.
Right.
And the experience that they're having and caring about their interest, then that's when all of the things that you wanted at first, all of the deals, that's when they start coming.
100%.
Because you've rewired your goal. Your goal is now to serve. It's now to be of service, to be of value, and to help the clients.
Exactly.
And it's got nothing to do with how fast you want to get paid. That does not matter,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Our agenda does not matter in the client's journey. What matters is the client's needs.
Yeah.
And once you realize that,
Yeah.
that's exactly what happens. People start to call, more business starts to happen. Like you and I were just talking right off camera there for a second, and you were saying how you have 5 closings this month. Like,
Yeah.
that's huge in the month
Yeah,
of December.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
not many people doing that much business in the
Yeah,
month of
yeah.
December. So that's just a huge, I think, token of kind of all the hard work that you've been doing.
All thanks to my clients, all the trust that they have put in. Sometimes I get overwhelmed that the amount of trust people have on me, and again I try to be very careful in what I do, because when you have this is kind of, I take it as a responsibility on me, right?
It is 100% a responsibility.
It is a big responsibility.
We're bearing our clients'
Yeah.
needs as our own responsibilities.
Exactly. So yeah. So anyway, it's so that's my story about real estate.
Well, I love it, man, because I think that's super relatable, and
Yeah.
and there was a lot of nuggets within what you were saying there of kind of how, because you said I don't know how I'm getting my business, but I think a lot of it sounds to me like it's probably a lot of referral business too, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it just happens. Like I said, I believe in just keep thinking good for the people in general and good for your clients, and it just happens.
Yeah.
I'm also a big believer of education.
Yeah.
Whenever I talk to someone, I believe in educating them. Like, what are they getting into, right? A lot
Yeah.
of people, they don't know. Sometimes you can just say that, okay, I'm paying $1,200 a month on rent. It's not same as paying $1,200 in the payment for the house, right? It's a lot more responsibility. So again, I don't try to scare people that they should not buy. I tell them, no, definitely house is the best decision you can do and you should buy, but make an educated decision, right?
Yes.
So I always try to give them that education ahead of the time.
Yep.
That what are all the other expenses about the property taxes, water and sewer and utilities, the maintenance of the property, so things like that. And if you have a pre-approval of $600,000, doesn't mean that you have to buy that much, right? You need to know how much you want to spend, and I try to do
How much you're comfortable to spend? What are your other family goals?
Exactly, yeah.
Do you need to save up money to go on trips? Do you guys plan on going on trips this year?
Exactly.
Kind of like factoring in their lifestyle into it as well.
I usually try to do the reverse engineering. So if I know they want to spend $2,000, then take out all the utilities, expenses, and everything. That okay, now we are working with $1,400 a month. Okay, what type of budget we have now?
Yes,
and then
exactly.
we try to adjust. So that helps a lot because people need to know what they are getting into.
100%.
So that's where again my teacher mode kicks in, and then I try to explain as much as possible.
Well, it's like teacher mode, and then like your engineering brain
Yeah.
almost too, right? Just kind of breaking it right down, going, let's set this system up so that it works.
Exactly.
Let's not just get you into a system. Let's make sure that when you're in there, you're going to be happy with it in the
100%.
future too.
100%. Yeah.
And I think that's huge. So no, that's really good. So then, and you've been with eXp now for about 6 months. What's been your experience since coming over to eXp? How have you found things here? Because now you're working with more with jazz, Hamish, and Manraj, and I was just at one of your guys' events, and that was a huge event. That was a great turnout. Like you guys went above and beyond. There was catering, there was other vendors there was inspectors, mortgage brokers, and it was a great turnout here at the Qplex. So it's awesome to see you guys working together. I just wanted to know how, from your experience, how has it been?
All the names you have mentioned, I mean, including yourself, we are a big believer of teamwork, and like I said, even my previous brokerage was awesome, lovely people. And then my whole point of coming to eXp is because at this point of time, I was just looking to see which brokerage is kind of more suitable for my future goals, right? So I have a lot more future goals. I'm trying to do different things. We're trying to get into the international real estate,
Yes, yep.
a lot of things. So EXP just fits, kind of best in all the dreams that we have and
the global opportunities.
all the opportunities that we have planned. And then in general, I mean, after coming to EXP, of course, every brokerage has a different way of working, different tools. So I am good with everything now. But EXP does offer a lot of, benefits and perks which can be useful. People actually don't realize there are small things after coming into EXP. I realize that, for example, you can get CRM at no cost, right? Usually cost about $100 a month. Canva Pro free access, again, $20 to $25 a month. And there are so many other things if you go into the portal, like, I think... I think if I estimate it, we are getting at least $300 to $400 a month worth of all the perks just being part of the
Right.
part of EXP. So I think that's a big thing. Yes, EXP does not offer office space, but again, the way I work, it does not matter to me because a lot of my clientele, actually, I'm just talking to them, I'm meeting with them for coffees and things like that. I was never using office anyway, so honestly, nothing changed for me.
Right.
And this is where the industry is going now as well.
Absolutely,
A lot
it
of
is, yeah.
time, doesn't matter which brokerage you work with, you're not always meeting in the office. Sometimes you're just going to your client's office, you're going meeting with them for a coffee, for a lunch, or whatever
At
is
a
going
showing,
on. Yeah,
yep.
at a showing. So that's what's happening. So my experience has been great. And, when Jazz and you as well, Menraj and all, we were sitting and we were kind of talking about, okay, what can we do and how can we make sure that, we are trying to share information with our clients and our future clients as well, that what we are doing. So we thought that we should come up with some sort of a collaborative approach, because at the end of the day, this is all teamwork that we are trying to do here. So we thought we would get together and we would try to make this our signature event, which we are planning to do every year. This year we called it Keys to Success 2025.
Awesome.
And the idea here was that we wanted to appreciate all the trust that we have gotten from our clients, and we also wanted to share with them the insights. So the idea for the event was that it is informative, it is educational, not just you come and meet and greet. It is more about, we had the Courtney from the legal space, we had Kevin Travis from home inspection, we had Gautam Chawla and Cricky Smith from Premier Mortgages. So we had these different vendors. So they can come and they can ask, people can ask those questions, right? So when we did the registration, we asked everyone that, okay, what is your main reasoning behind attending this event? And is there any
That's a good question.
Yeah,
Yep.
and is there any specific question that you would like to get answered?
Right.
So actually, they
So you
had
guys have data for the next year's event too.
exactly, yeah. So people had a lot of good questions. So we incorporated all those questions in the panel discussions that we had in the event. And so that was very interactive, actually. Definitely a lot of lessons learned, and we are looking forward to make it even bigger. But thanks to everyone who showed up, and it was pretty good. And again, because this is all the team effort, we work together. I love doing it. I'm going to be doing more such events in future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like you're very interactive with the community. Like,
Yeah.
because we even talked about having a business as well.
Yeah.
So you have a restaurant.
I do, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you have a restaurant, and then so there's a couple, because like you have multiple things going on. So
Yeah.
it's like you're out in the community and interacting a lot, right? Like,
100%.
I was just talking to an agent the other day, and they were saying how real estate's a contact sport. Like
Yeah.
you need to be out talking to people, right? And how
100%.
that's the best way to get business is just by getting in front of people,
Yeah.
whether it be through social media. Like if you're able to do that, that's a
Yeah.
way to scale that. Or if you're not doing that, getting out and actually having the conversations with people. But you're doing a little bit of both now, because I've seen some of your content as well, which
Yeah.
is everything you do is aiming to provide value, like
Exactly.
you said, which I
Exactly.
think is a crucial key.
Yeah.
And at our experience level, I think that's the right thing to do, is to find ways to pour back in so that we can educate
Yeah.
our potential buyers and sellers, and just put as much knowledge in their mind, in their hands as possible, as many resources and tools,
Yeah.
so that they can then be aided in making a proper decision too, right? Because I think someone like yourself, that's what you would appreciate. 'Cause
100%.
like you said at the start of the podcast, you want to know kind of all the ins and outs and whys of things
Exactly.
before you go to make a decision. So it's almost like
Yeah.
you're serving the way that you would like to be served too, right?
Yeah. There are tiny things, right? I mean, that you need to be basically thinking about everything, and that's what I try to do. Like the content that I'm creating is just everything is aimed towards educating people. What does it mean? Like even from the time when the idea pops up into your head that, okay, I want to buy a house. What's going to happen? Like, what are the steps that you need to take? And even to at the time of closing, like, I even go to an extent that if I know someone is renting the house, right, I would try and do this closing of their new house kind of like a week before the month end.
Right.
Because my intention there is I don't want the payments for the new house to be starting the start of the month where they have to pay the rent as well. And I want that 1 week buffer so they have access to their rental suite as well as their new house. So there is
Exactly.
enough. So,
Yep.
so I think about a lot of those things that how can we save money and how can we, not break the banks for my clients. So there are a lot of those things. Also in the event that we did something new. We actually did the announcement of international real estate opportunities.
I heard
So,
that.
yeah,
I was there for that part too.
I'm getting a lot of questions about it, and we're going to be doing more events, hopefully near end of this year or maybe early next year.
Okay.
So we are starting with Dubai.
Yeah, because you travel to Dubai quite a bit, don't you?
I have, yeah. I'm going to be there again, and there are a lot of opportunities available there. There are a lot of good projects, and again, I have been wanting to do this for quite some time, but the reason why I didn't do it until now is because I again wanted to be knowledgeable myself. Because the whole idea here is that yes, I'm going to be referring my clients basically to buy something in another country, but I want to make sure that I give them enough information. I'm comfortable enough before I can ask any of my clients to consider these opportunities.
Absolutely.
But that's going to be a big one. We are planning more events. We are going to be bringing some developers and some builders as well from Dubai here. We'll be doing specific events for the real estate agents and then for general audience as well. So yeah,
That's
lot
exciting.
more on the go there.
That's exciting. And that's the nice part about eXp is that we do have the global reach. It's just a matter of kind of working the network, talking to the right people, getting the conversations rolling. And and that's exciting. I don't know anything about Dubai. What's that been like? I know it's the most modern city in the world.
It is.
I've talked to some people who have traveled there. Recently, a buddy of mine went to Thailand and then Dubai. And it's quite interesting after hearing people's experiences there. What's your thoughts on Dubai? Because
it's great. I mean, it's growing at such a faster pace. I mean, the best thing is what people love about it. It's a tax-free country, so you don't have to pay any income tax. That's number one.
That's lovely.
It's safe as hell. Anyone I've spoken to, that is one of the safest place on earth that you can go. I mean, you can roam around in the middle of the night or whatever. I mean, it is very, very safe. And
They
then
have pretty strict laws there. Is that why? It's just things are enforced very, very well.
exactly, yeah, everything is enforced, and then people adhere to them, which is a good idea.
Yeah.
The other thing with the real estate side of things is there are so many new projects coming up, and they are so nice. And of course, Dubai is kind of situated at the water, of course, right? So you have a lot more opportunities. You can buy things with the sea view and things like that.
Yes.
And the best thing about people like us who are trying to invest from the other countries is that the investment is very safe because everything goes through the government. So when I'm going to pay any money to any of the builder, actually not paying to them directly, I am paying to the government there, and they will make sure that the money is only released to the builder when they deliver what they promise to you. So,
that's a great way to do things.
Exactly, yeah. So,
Right.
Yeah, so they cannot drop the ball. They cannot say
So
that.
there's no foolery. There's no games being played.
No,
Right.
there is a big chunk of bonds, call it, or deposit that these builders need to keep in the trust account or escrow accounts with the government before they even start any development. That's part of the condition.
Wow. So all of the developments are handled through the government?
Yeah, it's a
Especially
very
like internet. Is that only international?
no for everything.
For everything.
Yeah, it's a very heavy regulation there.
Yeah.
Because they don't want builders just to come and take all this advance 10%, 20% deposit from the people, and then they say, I'm going to give you the possession 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and then they run away. They don't want that.
Right.
Because once they're only working with the builders who have their skin in the game, and they can put that they have the big capital to basically put as a deposit with the government, and that is only released to them once they deliver what they promise they will.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand why they would do that. That makes sense because you see, and we've heard lots of stories of unfortunately, people acting unethically, right? Where they'll take deposits and then they won't finish jobs,
Exactly.
or maybe heaven forbid the company goes bankrupt and just can't finish because they were over leveraged or something along those lines, right? And then it kind of leaves that client hanging, and then unfortunately it seems to be like the client that's at the risk in a lot of these things, and now they're fighting through the legal system to possibly get some justice, right?
Yeah. No.
So that just eliminates all that.
That's not an option there. Yeah. Plus, Dubai also has like, I mean, they have one of the world's best things. I mean, they're making that, the whole city so beautiful. Of course, you might have heard about Emirates, which is one of the best airline. They are making a newer, even bigger airport. So they currently have one of the busiest airport on earth. Now they're making even bigger, which I think will handle 3, 4, or 5 times than what the current airport is.
Yes, sir.
They have so many. They have Burj Khalifa, one of the tallest buildings. So I mean, there is so
yes,
much.
They do. Yeah, and then they have that light show going on in that building too, right? Yeah, it turns into an entertainment as well.
There's so much going on. So I feel like it's a good place. Where the market is going, a lot of money is being put in, and plus for people who are here, it's a good investment because the return on investment by renting those properties and all, it is actually pretty good. Of course, it depends on the project to project, but in general, those numbers are looking pretty good, and that's what I take pride in to explain everything to my clients before we even have options for people to kind of just fly them down there. At the expense of the builders. They can just go, they can fly down there, make sure they like everything before they even, do the final signature. So they're
right. Yeah. Now the pricing down there for anybody looking to build, is there an average price point that people would like kind of a minimum bar of entry, so to speak?
I think there are all kinds of pricing depending on the location. How close you're to the city
like
center.
Are we in the millions?
Yeah. I mean, I think you can buy something. It will start as low as like $200,000 or $300,000 Canadian, and of course it goes all the way depending on what you want, right?
You can barely buy anything for that here.
Yeah. So, Plus, there are other options as in because these are new developments, so you don't have to pay all the money up front. So let's say you're paying 10% now, another 10% in 6-7 months, and so there are those payment plans are very flexible as well.
So then your goal is to expand eventually into that international and help more people be able to go over there. And
Local market would still be my focus. I will continue to do, but then I'm collaborating with the companies there where they will come here. We educate our people, and if anyone finds us to be a good investment, then we'll try and refer that business. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, that's incredible. It's a big undertaking too, because the way that you like to do business is make sure that you know everything, right?
Yeah.
So that's a lot to learn too, right?
I have to be there a few times before I can even. So that's what I'm doing. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. And you do a lot of community events, it seems like. So what else have you done throughout the year? Because I know you said you don't know how you're getting your clients, but I have a feeling that but you're a very analytical guy, so I feel like you probably do as well. Like, what do you think that you've been doing to have your success? Is it the events? Is it just over servicing the clients for the referrals? Like, what do you find's working the best for you?
I think what works best for me is just helping people when they are in their need.
Yeah.
And why I do this is actually I don't do this just to be nice. I do this because I feel that this is my responsibility because someone in the past did the same things to me. So when I came to this country back in 2011, there were so many nice people. I've gone to school in Dalhousie, in Halifax. There were so many people who have helped me throughout. When I moved to St. John, so many people helped me throughout. They picked me up, they dropped me off, gave me rides. I mean, so I have that.
Just little things just to help you get going, right?
So I have that built in me, especially for someone who is coming new. It doesn't matter if they're coming from another country or even another province. When you come into a new place, to a new city or to a new province, you are somewhat scared to start with, right? You don't know what needs to be done. You don't know how things are getting done here. And I have lived that feeling myself. So that's why sometimes I talk to my wife. She's asking me, like, who are you talking to, this unknown guy, like, for the last 30 minutes? Like, why do you have to do this?
Right.
And I said to her, I cannot explain, but I have to. Because I was in this situation and I can understand
it's just what you know is right.
Yeah, because I can understand that person's situation. I mean, a lot of times I just go, I pick people up from airport, just because a lot of times I'm just looking at on Facebook, someone is asking, hey, I'm moving to St. John, I need this and info. I would just text them and I say, anything I can do to help, I would do that. I would pick them up. I would try to arrange the accommodation for them. Sometimes those things kind of turns into the business for me after a few years, not right away. So that happens as well.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's just it, right? And it's
yeah.
not even that that's the goal,
Yeah,
but
it's
normally
not.
that's what happens though. Because
exactly.
if you just lead from that place of service, of just wanting to help people and then because you're doing it from the best intentions of like, this is, people helped me and I understand the feeling of coming into a city and not knowing the lay of the land and maybe not understanding the way things work here or not having the connection. So it's like you're wanting to fill that gap because it's like you don't want anyone else to have to feel that if they don't have to, right?
Yeah. And then there are small things, right? I mean, if I can go pick someone up from airport, it's not a big deal for me, right?
Right.
But that means a word to that person because they had no idea what this place is. But if they see someone who they know, they're gonna pick them up and drop them off to their accommodation. I mean, it can take 1 hour from my life, but it can make things way easy for that person.
Absolutely.
Right?
Did you say you moved to Halifax originally?
I did, yeah.
Okay, so you were in Halifax for a little while. So you experienced Halifax between 2011 and
13.
And 13, okay, for 2 years. And then you decided to move to St. John?
Yes, I was here for a year, and then my company who I was working with, they have opened the office in Halifax.
Okay.
So Halifax back then was like home away from home for me kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
So then I moved back to Halifax for a couple of years. And then again, I came back to St. John because I was offered a promotion, a better management role.
Right.
So I came back to St. John in 2016.
Okay.
And I've been here since then.
Okay. So then you would have experienced, because back in 2016, that's when St. John was a little bit stagnant. There wasn't much going on. There wasn't much development. I mean, the city in the last 5 to 6 years has seen a lot of growth.
Yeah.
A lot of growth. And before that, it was a little stale.
Yeah.
It was a little stale here.
Yeah.
There was a lot of promises of big developments, but then nothing happening because there wasn't enough money, or there was this thing's going to happen and then no because people protested or something. Like this was like it was like start and stop.
Even houses sometimes I used to see they were sitting like in the market for months and months, right? And
yes, they would have when I first because I started in 2018, December 2018, and that first year of being in the business, the average days on market was around somewhere between 4 to 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah, so like houses sat, that was just standard. And you'd be doing 20 to 30 open houses for these places, right? Every single weekend kind of deal. Yeah. And that was just the way that the business was. Yeah. So at that time, buyers were easier to work with. And I had a formula in my mind when I first got in the business that every listing I can probably knock between $10,000 to $20,000 off easy.
Yeah.
That was like easy negotiation just because I'm like, it's been sitting there and most people are willing to wiggle that much.
Right.
And it's so crazy how things have changed since then because we haven't seen that. Yeah. And so that's awesome that you got to see kind of the pre-pandemic St. John, and then now where we're at with...
Even I bought my house in 2019 as well. So that was kind of when things were starting to change, but I was not caught in the wind then. So, I just saved
2019 was even still good, too.
Yeah, it was good.
It just started to get weird around 2020.
Yeah.
January 2020, and then right around April, everything exploded.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So.
And so I always kind of value that perception that I have of... I started off in a buyer's market that, property sat forever. Yeah. So it was, so I kind of get to sharpen my teeth in that little bit of a tougher market. And so I think that gives me just a little bit of confidence. Like, so whatever way the market goes, I'm like, I've experienced a brief period of time of that kind of buyer side. And then now the last 6 years, all kinds of experience on the seller side. So it's kind of just building up all of the experience. And that's one thing that I love about real estate.
Did you start with eXp?
No, I started with Keller Williams, actually.
Keller Williams, okay, cool.
Yeah, so I started with Keller Williams because that's where my grandfather was. And he's the one that got me into the business. So he was a real estate agent long before I was. He retired as a teacher.
Right.
So he kind of had that natural teaching ability, and just like you're saying,
I remember dealing with you for that cottage in Hampton, right? That was our first deal.
Oh goodness!
Do you remember?
Man, yeah. That was a weird deal. Did that one there end up being? That was the seller financing, wasn't it?
No. This one was seller financing. You're right.
Seller financing, right?
Yes, you're right.
Jeez, I mean that was an interesting sale because that place didn't even like it had like a well, like an old fashioned well outside.
Yeah.
That was an
I had the
interesting.
understanding like well would be like a typical well, but that no, you just take the pot with you.
And that's what the guy did. It was so odd.
So,
Yeah, that was an interesting spot.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's anything in real estate. This is where like I'm not surprised by anything because it's like we've seen so much, right? We've dealt with so many different scenarios.
100%.
Like this guy said he wants to sell his camp, so you never know what you're getting into. Sometimes people say a camp, and you go out, and it's like a $400,000 or $500,000 property on the water,
right?
And sometimes it's a shack in the woods. So you just never really know what you're getting into with it, right? And all you can do is just do your best. I'm actually very glad we got that deal done.
Yeah.
That would have been that was a challenging sale, and you and I worked that one out. We found a solution there.
Yes, 100%.
That's two people that were just determined to get
and my clients were very happy actually with it. So there was it was exactly the kind of property they were looking for.
Man, I'm so happy to hear that. I'm so happy to hear that because I was kind of just like, geez, this is going to be a tough sell. So I'm glad that they're really enjoying it. That's awesome to hear because it was a very special spot, very remote too, and the stories that the fellow that owned it told me about how like he'd been laying down and he just looked out the window and there was a bear going by outside.
Oh, wow.
And then like moose and stuff and deer, just the wildlife because you're so remote out there. Yeah. So those sales are really, really cool. Yeah. But that would have been, that was a while back.
Yeah, it was.
Started off with Keller Williams there. I was honestly very happy at that brokerage. Working alongside my grandfather, he taught me a lot. A lot of the people there taught me a lot. And I just eventually wanted to I always knew like social media was going to be a valuable asset. I was a big follower of Gary Vaynerchuk prior to even getting into business. And I also had another business. So like yourself, I came into real estate with a little bit of business experience prior. So I had a spa with my mother. So my mother's a massage therapist.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And she was kind of expanding at that time into Rockwood Park, into Lily Lake. And at that time, I had just been pretty well laid off from commercial diving. Commercial diving is a very seasonal career, especially when you're starting off. You're pretty well just working spring, summer, and fall, and then they keep their more experienced employees for the winter, and everybody else just kind of draws the eye, and you'll get a phone call if they need you.
Right.
I'm so energetic and high strung. I was like, I can't sit still for 6 months and just collect EI or 4 months or whatever. Right. So my mom talked about expanding this business and I always knew I really wanted to dip my feet into business. I think that's where like that's where like I always wanted to go, but I didn't know how because I come from a very trades background. Sure. I come from the military. I did that from 16. I did, so on paper, 14 years. I'd say like active for about like 9, 10 of those years. The military taught me all kinds of great things, leadership, taught me discipline, taught me just, a whole bunch of things that really, that I needed at that age. Right. And then got into commercial diving. And then that led me into the issue where the first year I was working, I was like, I can't sit for a winter and just wait till the spring. I can't do that. So then I just kind of took destiny into my own hands, started a business with my mother. Wow. Her and I got into that, and that was a spa business. And the thing with that was I knew nothing about the spa industry. I didn't know about nails. I didn't know about, honestly, I still barely do. But I went into this with a mindset of, if I can start a business, what I knew was I'm a relentless individual. And I'm willing to just, I'll hit my head against the wall until I figure it out. Right. Yeah. So it's like I have that grit of not ever quitting. I don't care how many days I had to show up. And at this business, I was the one working the desk. I was the one running the payroll. I was the one doing the marketing. I was showing up every single day, and I did that for about a year. And I made about maybe $6,000 my first year. I was able to pay myself like nothing, like zero, because we had employees' expenses. We had the overhead. Most businesses don't make money their first year, right? There's not a lot of money to take out of the business. Yeah,
sometimes
you're
even 2 to 3
reinvesting
years.
everything into it. So this was a very humbling experience because it was when I was about 22 to 23 years old, where a lot of my friends from high school had just started to get good job positions. They're starting to buy the trucks. They're starting to buy their houses. And here I am making like no money at all, working nonstop, working relentlessly to make something, to make my dream kind of at that time was get this business off the ground. So learning the marketing in there, learning all the business stuff, learning how hard it is to make $1 on your own was extremely humbling.
Yeah.
You know, everybody thinks when you start a business, it's just a money printing machine.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the case
Not
at all.
really,
It's a lot of work. There's a lot of overhead. There's a lot of risk. And, you know, the government needs their share and HST and all of this. And then after you kind of look at it going, okay, this year we made $100,000, but what's left? Not much.
Nothing. Yeah.
Nothing. There's nothing left.
Yeah.
And, you know, I thought that was huge. I was like, the first year we did $100,000, but that was gross. Net, it was like, right? Like next to nothing because we were reinvesting everything. So then the pandemic happened, and that was kind of, at that time, I was already talking to my grandfather. He'd seen how hard I was working, so he actually came to me, and he goes, Brandon, I see how hard you're working at this business. He goes, if you put this energy and effort into real estate, you will do so much better. Because he was like, how much money are you making? I was like, oh, I'm not, like, there's not much. I haven't made any money.
Yeah.
And he goes, man, you will make way more money if you come into real estate. And he was right. And I never considered myself a real estate agent. But I got thinking of it, and I said, okay, I'll think about that. You know, and there's a piece of me thinking, you know, he's a good salesman. He's trying to sell me on his dream. Like, I don't know if I could actually do that. But when you're working, when you're working that hard and you're not seeing all the returns, that kind of message echoes in your head. So after about 2 weeks, I drove into his office. And I walked in and I said, if you're serious about this opportunity in real estate, I will 100% try it. And I just want you to teach me a little bit. Take me under your wing for a little while.
Right.
He was like, okay, let's do it. And then, you know, everything from there, for about 2-3 weeks, I was driving around with him, hearing how he did business, hearing how he managed with clients, listings. He kind of threw a couple things my way to start off, get experience. None of it transacted, but it was all experience.
Yeah, for sure.
And then eventually, just kind of, you know, eventually started doing things my own way, realized I liked social media. But, you know, super, super grateful for him seeing that in me, because I did not see it in myself at all. But I am so happy that he offered that opportunity, because, you know, here I am today.
And you learned from the expert, right? So
yeah, exactly. And just happier than I've been at any career in a long, long time. Like it's funny because when I got into real estate, a lot of my friends were like, they're like, Brandon, I think you finally found your thing. They're like, this is what you're going to be good at. Because I always get in trouble for talking everywhere I go.
Right.
And finally found something where building the relationships or having conversations can then pay off, right? And then it was just a matter of rewiring my brain to go, how can I help people? How can I provide more value? That's where I started the YouTube journey. Exactly. Market updates. Yeah. How can I make market updates somewhat entertaining? Because I found a lot of it dry. I'm like, the way that people deliver this information is dry, or it doesn't make sense to me, the way my brain worked at the time. So I wanted to create something that I would have liked to watch, something that I would have liked to learn from.
No, your YouTube has been great. I watch it sometimes. I also watch your social media pages. So
thank you, man. Yeah. So that's where a lot of that started, and that's honestly where I've grown my business. And I think that's all with the help of the Wolfpack too. Yeah. All with the help of the Social Agent Academy. I couldn't have done it without that. Yeah. That's where I learned all of the skills from watching other agents as well, right? So anyway, that's a little bit about my story.
That's so motivating to hear, for sure.
Oh no, I appreciate that. Yeah. For agents out there that could have been struggling this year, okay, like, you know, because I know some agents who haven't had a stellar year. Right. Sometimes I'm talking to agents and I'm like, dude, you seem like you're crushing it. They're like, I actually didn't do much business this year, Brandon. And I'm like, oh, shocked to see that, right? Like, it's like, oh, I didn't expect that. What would be some of your advice maybe to agents that didn't have a great year this year? What are some things that you would recommend to focus on based on your experience?
Again, number one thing is don't give up. There are always going to be fluctuations, right? And then just keep working at it, and things will come through, especially if there are clients, you know, who you may have done some showings, they are no longer interested or things like that. Just keep talking to them, right? Just be in touch with them, because sometimes situation changes, things changes, you know, they may not be active right now. They may become active again in a few months. Keep looking out for more business. Just prepare some educational material. Just keep talking to the guys. Attend as many events as possible. Distribute your business cards. Actually, I was not a big believer in distributing business card, but actually it helps. Yeah, it helps. So
The business cards are hit or miss in my mind because I find a lot of times you can give them to people and it just goes in a pile somewhere, or it ends up just kind of in someone's back pocket and forgot about.
But if someone is looking for that service,
true.
They keep it. And this is why the other thing I do is, like, whenever I'm talking to someone, and especially if I have their contact number, I always send them my mobile business card as well.
Yes,
So I'll always have it in my phone. So I know they can, throw the physical one, but at least, I just say, hey, nice chatting with you. Thank you for your time. Here's my mobile business card. You can just save all the information in your phone.
Exactly.
So, so whenever the time comes, they are looking for some sort of real estate services. They will have, I met with a guy, maybe I have his phone number or her phone number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always try to get their contact into my phone or put mine in theirs and make sure that we get that text sent while we're right there. Yeah. Just so I'm like, okay, and then I'm going to put your name down, and then I have it in there. I find... There's a while where I thought, I'm like, okay, the business cards are cool, but the best thing, like the whole point of the business card is to get them to message you. So if I can just skip the business card and just get their information right off the bat so we're in contact, then that was always something that I focused on. And then I eventually got some business cards that have the QR code on it. So I might just carry one with me.
That's what I have done.
And then I'm like, scan it. And then they scan, and then all of my information is preloaded on their phone, right? Just like you said with the digital card.
Exactly, yeah. So that QR code on my business card actually belongs to my digital business card. So that's what I do,
Yes, sir, yeah. And I find that's the best too, because we're in a society of efficiency.
Yeah.
Right? Of everything quick now. How efficient can you make things? So if you can save the client the time of even typing your phone number and your name and your email and all that in there, and it appears right on there, and they just hit save, way more convenient, right?
Yeah. And I mean, the most important part for anyone who's looking for more business is just go out, talk to the people, really. Talk to the other experts, talk to the home inspectors, even talk to other realtors, really, Just having that reputation, attend as many open houses as possible. There are so many agent open houses, connect with other realtors if they need any help in doing the open houses. A lot of good people come in. So at the end of the day, just go out, keep talking to the people, put as much effort as possible, and it will work out. Yeah. Just a patience game sometimes.
Yep.
So,
And sometimes sometimes it's a game of even evaluating your own calendar, because sometimes people can say, oh, I tried this or tried that, but it's like, show me your calendar. Like, let's see, do you have a plan? Is there a plan in place, right? A lot of times you look at someone's calendar and you can really see if there's a real structure in place. Like, is there daily activities for lead generation? Yeah. And sometimes, somebody might say, oh yeah, but it's like, well, what is it? And are you actually doing it intentfully too, right? Mm-hmm. So I think sometimes almost a self-audit goes a very long way as to seeing, where did I currently get my business this year, even though I may not have the year I wanted?
Yeah.
What did I do that worked?
Right.
And then what was I doing that didn't work? Let's try to eliminate all the things that wasn't working and double down on the areas that did work.
Yeah. And a lot of people, I mean, I speak with a lot of realtors, a lot of, experienced realtors who have been here like for 20, 30 years. Yeah. And most of them, they have like a fixed routine every day.
Yeah, exactly.
I was talking to someone, they said, it's their routine that they're going to make one phone call minimum every day.
Yep.
Every morning they're going to do one phone call, and they have to have one appointment.
Yep.
Doesn't matter. So basically you keep
Even
working
if you're just going to go meet someone for coffee.
Exactly.
See how they're doing.
Yeah.
Just check in.
Yeah. And then this person also said that I need to have one signature too. So you may or may not have a signature. I mean, signature can be anything. It can be an amendment. It can be purchase offer. It can be anything.
Right.
But even to start with, at least, if we can have the schedule where, I'm going to make one phone call, just look up all your contacts, whoever, even just to say thank you to one of your previous client, right?
Yeah.
Just make that phone call.
Or even just saying hey, I was thinking of you. Hope you have a great day today.
Yeah,
Hope everything's going good.
So that is
just, a little something like that can go such a long way, right?
Yeah.
Especially where we're in a society that is very convenient. Yeah. Everybody's focused on the efficiency. Sometimes doing things that take a little bit of time out of our day, but pouring into others can be something that has a huge reward. It's funny. I was at the conference in Miami, and I got talking to an agent out there, and he's a very experienced agent. He's got like 20, 30 years in the business. Right. And he taught me something that was very deep. And it was, I want to make sure I'm saying it right. So he said, anything that you do that is client facing, you want it to be effective. Yeah. Anything that you do on the back end that the clients don't see, you want that to be efficient. Everybody always thinks they want everything efficient. Yeah. But he goes, for example, he goes, let's say I'm selling a property on MLS, and I do the reverse engineering, so I can see every agent who had a client interested in this property. He goes, it would be efficient if I just took all of their emails and then just kind of a generic subject line, and I sent that out as an email saying, hey, you have a client interested. Or I can take time and have that agent's name in every subject line and take the time to type it out. He goes, one of those will be efficient, but one, if I put the name in there, then that's effective.
Yeah, exactly.
Same as, it might not make sense to, like, if you're sending a mail out, like a mass mail out to all clients, well, taking the time to maybe handwrite a little letter to every single client. Sure. That could take you a full day of just handwriting certain little, 5-10 minutes per letter or whatever. And somebody could look at that and be like, well, that's not effective. But it's like, well, no, but it's not efficient. It's not efficient, but it's very effective. It is effective, yeah. Very effective, right? Yeah. So I found that, and I asked him, I said, how long have you been using that as your filtration system? He said, for a very long time now. So, those different philosophies can help go a long way too, right?
Everyone I have spoken to, like all the successful, agents in the market, they have one fixed discipline that they follow each day.
Yep.
That's the routine, that's their mantra, and that's what they keep doing. So
no, I love that. So we talked about the agents. Geez, I just had a question for you and it just slipped my mind. I had a really good one. What were we just talking about before that? We were talking about, anyway, okay. How much time do you have? Another 15 minutes?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So we hit the new agents, we hit your story. What other advice do you have? Because I think you have a lot of knowledge. I think there's a lot of knowledge in there. And what would be some, I guess, just generic advice, some things that have helped you in business, maybe philosophies that you live by? You seem like a very methodical individual.
Yeah. My single advice, or like the way I live my life, is just I never think about doing any harm to anyone. Doesn't matter if they're my clients or not. So that's one single thing that I always
like trying to make sure that you're not going to do any harm. Like I want to make sure that what I'm doing is
exactly, and that harm. I'm not talking about just like, kind of the physical harm, basically anything really. Yeah. Even like, I don't want to say anything to anyone, which may be a problem. I teach the same thing to my kids as well.
How old are your kids?
6 and 3.
That's awesome.
6-year-old son and a 3-year-old daughter.
Yes, sir. That's incredible.
And that's the same discipline I follow in my profession as well. That just do what's right? I don't pay a lot of attention to the money part, because again, even if I have to compromise on some of the finances just to make sure that someone is happy and just because I feel right, I would do it. Because it is my belief that whatever I do to do something good is going to pay me 10 times back in future. So that's how I live.
100%. Yeah.
And that's the belief that I have in me, that keep doing the good things. Don't try to scam anyone. Don't just trying to fool 100%, anyone, right? Don't rush it, and then good things will start to continue to happen to you, right? And then even for anyone new who wants to come to the business, like I'm also a big believer that I talk to a lot of people. They want to come to the business, and I never say no to anyone. I never say that no, you should not, just because I'm so scared that you're going to take my business. I never do that. No. I always tell everyone that, this is what I think, this is how you should do it. And because, again, I'm a big believer that whatever is bound to happen for me, it's going to happen. So it doesn't matter, someone else joining the business is not going to impact what I'm doing.
No, it doesn't.
Those are some of the principles that I live by, and they are working out for me. And
that's the abundance mentality, right? It's the abundance mentality. And I think when you come into the business and you're not able to find a lot of business, that's when you have that scarcity mindset, right? You feel like there's not much out there. So it's like you'll almost... Like I remember getting into the business and I felt like I was kind of just, almost scratching for business, almost like a type of desperation in the way, but as well, within 3 months, I closed 2 deals.
Yeah.
So I was doing something right, and I think what it was I was very eager.
Yeah.
But I also knew that if I just provided value and I cared about people, then the value would come. And it's funny because one of my first clients, I remember them so well, and it was a young woman. Mm-hmm. And she was pregnant at the time, and she walked into one of my open houses that I had. It was my first property I had for sale. And she walked in to the open house, and she was checking to see if this was the one for her. It was her and her boyfriend at the time. And they were first-time homebuyers, and they had nobody working with them yet. And I just got talking to them, and I was like, she's about to have a kid. Like, she needs to find something that's going to be, like, suitable for her family, right? Like, and I just got, like, emotionally connected. I'm like, I feel like I really want to, like, help these people. And we just clicked really well. And we end up finding them something. And it's funny because I've done 3 deals with them since.
Yeah.
1, 2, yeah. So 3, yep. And it's just like, and it was just literally me going like, I really want to help this person. And then I had some friends' parents reach out to me who needed help out in the St. Stephen area. So it was quite a journey. I mean,
yeah.
Starting off, real estate is, it can be a little tricky starting off, right?
And sometimes magic happens too. Like my first ever deal was, I had no idea. Someone reached out to me looking up my profile on realtor.ca.
Yeah.
I mean, I still think, why would that person would have picked me? I mean, they just, texted me. I had no listing, nothing. They just sent me the direct message that, they were looking for someone. I had a phone call with them. We kept talking for like a month or more, They were planning to move to New Brunswick from Ontario, actually. And then one fine day, like it was really bad weather, and he said he was planning to be here, and then he wanted to be like in the countryside. So his plan was to look at some properties in the outskirts of Moncton, some in the outskirts of St. John, and some in the outskirts of Fredericton, right? So I'm thinking, I said, oh my God, that's too much driving. And then, the roads. But anyway, I did it, we have seen 4 or 5 houses on that same day. I drove at least, 5-6 hours. And then finally they ended up buying their house, outside Fredericton. It was like over $500,000 purchase price.
Yes, sir.
And that was my first deal.
Wow.
And very, very happy clients. I still talk to them, working on some other deals too. But yeah, that was just a magic for me. The first ever thing.
And it's so true. And I think when you're coming from it from the right spot, from the fact that you were willing to drive around so much on a day that the weather wasn't great. It's it's showing you're committed, it's showing you're invested, and sometimes that's all people can ask for. That's what they want. And sometimes that can be hard to find, right? I think we're really lucky in our group. We have a lot of very good real estate agents. I'm not sure if you've seen the stat in our group chat there, but so our group here has sold 85 million in real estate this year.
Wow.
The collective volume of the Wolfpack. And if you add Jenny Selly as well, then you're looking at the Wolfpack in New Brunswick having roughly 137 million in volume this year alone.
Outstanding. Yeah.
So then when you actually divide that by each agent, it's like each agent's doing very, very well on average, and that's a huge statement for our group, I think. And it just goes to a lot of our philosophies of coming from a place of value and so
that's great. No, and I mean, I'm very passionate about this business. As you know, I'm also into the construction side of things now. So this just gives me immense, satisfaction. Being involved with the construction has also given me more insight into, now I can help even further, so now when I go with my clients to see the houses, basically, I can give them those suggestions and I can tell them, what's going on and also, so that is very helpful. So
having the construction knowledge as well helps out a lot. I was lucky and I had the opportunity to work with a great builder around here, RJ Scott, for about 3 years. 3-4 years, and it was. I learned so much because that process, it's much different than just helping someone buy a property, right? Because you can find a client and sometimes you can help them find a property within 2-3 months. When you're building, there's so much more involved, right? Starting off figuring out where are you going to build? What what area, finding the land, and then you find the land, and then it's like, okay, now we need to get some blueprints. Now you also have to almost factor in, if somebody wants a certain style house, you need to find land that's going to match that style, because
Exactly.
sometimes lots aren't going to be perfect for every style of build, right?
100%,
And the last thing you want to do, that I learned from my builder, is try to redevelop the land. Like, let's say, like, if you're building on a slope, but you want a house with like a walkout in the back, the worst thing to do would be to like flatten it all out, because now you're just gonna have like a waterfall issue, right?
Exactly.
And it's right. So it's like working with the land is the best way from my experience, but then also learning. So then you get the prints done, and then you send that off to the bank. They need to get approved on that with the agreement, and then you're starting the process. And just watching a house kind of be birthed is so interesting.
Yeah.
From a hole in the ground to then the concrete, the footings are going. You frame it up, you get it airtight, and then just seeing how much is involved. It's such a different process, right?
Too much
Such a
goes on,
different
yeah,
process.
Yeah.
What's been your experience so far with building? How are you enjoying it?
Very, very, very much enjoying. Actually, I love playing with the floor plans. I even if sometimes I'm just laying on a bed and about to sleep, I'm just thinking, okay, this should be the floor plan. I mean, it's not out of the stress; it's more out of the passion.
Yeah.
That if I've looked at a floor plan, you know what, maybe this is how we can make it better. So that's the type of opportunities I look for. We kind of researching on different type of material. How can we look at more attractive, try to give as much value as possible, right? So we have done some houses. We have sold a couple of them in the Milledgeville area, some more in progress now. We're about to do some townhouses on the east side of St. John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What websites are you using for your plans right now? Or is there a certain like go-to that you use? Because I have a couple in my mind that I've.
The website, you mean?
Yeah.
Actually, so basically, we have a entire team.
Okay.
So I have someone actually who is the floor plan drafter in my team.
Awesome.
So what we do is basically depend if we are doing a spec house. I mean, I tell them this is what we are looking for, but then we also work with the clients who are looking to get the custom homes built.
Yeah.
So if it's a client, we take their recommendations. We give them some reference plans of the previous projects that we have done, and whatever tweaks they want to do there, I put in all the information, give it to the drafter. And then, once they draft the initial plan, and then, of course, there is a back and forth once the client is satisfied. So that's when we move forward.
Yeah.
I have used some websites in the past.
Like family home plans, stuff like that. Beaver Cottage Homes, another good one.
Floor plan sketcher and all those things. Yeah. So, I've done it. But no, we have the dedicated person now who looks after everything now.
All in-house.
Yeah.
Good. Nice.
That's what we do.
I remember the question I was going to ask you that slipped my mind there a second ago. And it was, what's your favorite thing about being a real estate agent? What's your favorite thing so far?
Favorite thing? Just having that initial meeting with the clients and educating them about the process. So that is my first favorite thing. And then the next favorite thing is the time when I hand over the keys.
Yeah.
Because it kind of finishes the circle.
Yes, absolutely.
So then, I can
love
kind
that
of
too. Closes the loop.
Yeah, exactly. So I can kind of visualize everything. Okay, this was the time when we started a few months back or a few weeks back, whatever. That was a time, and then and I feel satisfied that I was able to answer and clarify everything. Even smaller things from how do you switch the power to internet. How do you take the lease equipment in your name. How the property taxes are going to be in your name. How someone this morning, I had a pre-closing inspection, so they were asking how does the water works. How the St. John water is gonna put the bill into my name, and then do we have water meters here or not? So all those things, because I have all that information, I was able to explain them, what are your options,
Right.
So we get billed once in 6 months kind of thing. You can pay monthly, you can pay in lump sum. I mean, all those things. So so that is one of the best.
So it's the education portion
it's
that's your favorite
yeah,
too.
I really like the education part of this business.
Yeah.
That's the best.
I think about it often. I love the diversity of it, I think.
Yeah.
I almost really crave a little bit of something different every day.
Yeah.
So there's rarely you're having the same day twice. Although, like you said, a lot of agents have their system. So there's certain things that I'm like, okay, I know I need to do my post today. I need to film some videos. But then there's also kind of like all the things that happen in between there with the deals, everything that you're working separately as well. And
right. Yeah.
the lead generation, things along those lines, and then setting up events and there's just always something. There's always something to be doing. And I find in real estate, you're always thinking in the future.
Yeah.
That's one thing I noticed about myself when I became a real estate agent was my brain started to always be like a month ahead. It's
Right.
almost like I'm 30 days ahead currently in a weird way, because it's like you're always looking at dates ahead. You're always looking at the calendar, figuring out when a good closing would be, figuring out the timelines on your conditions.
Exactly.
And then it's always kind of had me thinking in the future, going, okay, what's next week going to look like? What's it going to look like when we do this event? What's this going to happen here, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So it kind of it's a career that almost demands you to think very much into the future, and then also to trying to figure out where's the market going, right?
Exactly,
Not that we have a crystal ball, but there's trends. There's for sure trends, and there's signs. There's warning signs when certain things are happening. So staying plugged into that, and then trying to give that value back when you see stuff, right? Hey, the market's shifting currently right now. The months of inventory are changing, and we're maybe moving into a different type of market. Like being able to say and help clients with all that.
Yeah, 100%. And the other thing that kind of gives me immense happiness is whenever there is some sort of a roadblock that we encounter, and I'm able to overcome it, right?
Yeah.
So that
solving the problem no matter what.
Solving a problem, right? Because at the end of the day, if I'm representing my sellers, my job is to make sure they get as much as possible for their house.
Yeah.
If my role is representing the buyer, so I make sure that they get the best possible deal. But it's not as straightforward, right? Sometimes you're running into the timeline issues. Sometimes there are financing issues and all that. So I was telling you, earlier today that I was able to overcome issue of the recent closing for my sellers,
right?
And it was the excellent feeling because I was able to get them top dollar for their house. Yes, we had to wait a little bit extra. It took
slowed
a couple
things
extra,
down a little bit, but then like you're saying to me, where you educated them on here's the pros and cons of doing this, and then so then you're laying out a good map, and that's something I find about the way that your brain works. You are very analytical, and I think I noticed that from the very first, because you'd always be like, okay, well, how come, Brandon? Why is this, or how does that work? And it's having that kind of very intuitive.
It's a calculated risk sometimes you have to take, and that's what I try to do. But again, I try to educate as much as possible because yes, if you're taking a risk is a risk, right? So there can be, but most times when we do these kind of things, like out of experience, so in my experience, actually, I am able to overcome those challenges. So like we were able to this time, so it worked out. So now my the buyers are happy, my sellers are happy. And it's a happy story now, right? So,
and that's just, I think, a staple of your personality of never giving up, of always finding a solution and making something work, right? And that's a strong trait that'll take anybody far, right?
100%.
So awesome. Shabahat, I just want to say I'm super excited for our growth. I'm very excited for the things we're going to do together in the future. I'm very excited. I think you're a very passionate individual, and just I'm very excited for some of the growth that we can have here in St. John.
No, me as well.
And globally too.
Me as well. And I've been I'm so happy to be part of this team. Wolfpack brings a lot of value, like you mentioned about the social agent academy and everything else that eXp has to offer. I think it's excellent. You do a pretty good job in kind of holding everyone together.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, all the meetings and the get-together. So there's a lot of work that goes in the backhand, like you were talking about, right? So I know you do that.
Keeping the culture together, I find, is so important.
Yeah, I do some of those events, so I know in the backhand it takes a lot of energy, a lot of time. So you are sacrificing that just to make sure that all the team members can stay together.
And it's something I'm passionate about too, though. And I think that comes a little bit from my military background of like having a section of people that like you're either working with or because at times I was in the section, and there's other times I was leading the section.
Right.
And it's just always kind of something where it's like I was always somebody who valued having high morale. So like keeping the esprit, like keeping people's energy up, keeping people, because I find anytime you have a leader that wasn't good at keeping morale high, you had troops not reaching their potential, people not reaching their potential,
Yeah.
right? So I think when you can create a good environment, a safe environment, a fun, thriving, growing, training, learning, we're all kind of like working together and trusting each other, I find that can just like open up so much potential in people.
Yeah, no, and I mean, someone has to do it, right? I mean, if you stop putting those efforts, I get, so then it's becomes so hard to keep the team together. So
Yeah. It's something I'm super passionate about.
Yeah, but thank you for putting all those efforts, and thank you again for having this opportunity, for inviting me here. So
This was an awesome conversation. I'm super excited for it. To clip it up and post it. So this was a great conversation, man.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. I know you're busy as can be. You had a closing this morning, so I just appreciate your time today.
Yeah, I just have to hand over the keys now. So anyway,
awesome. Right on. Perfect. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and have a great day.